in a world that is mentally stuck in the 1930s, with various populists and autocrats still sort of wandering the planet, AI can become a terrible tool. I think that if we actually don't regulate the pace at which this development is going, something terrible might happen. Um, I think that AI is a great servant, but a terrible master.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the European Parliament. It's actually a great honor and a great pleasure for me to host this event and to have a full of the auditorium, because I think that the topic of this conference is very important. It's becoming more and more important throughout the time, as we can all see. Um, I won't keep you long. And first of all, I have to apologize because I will leave shortly after my opening remarks. Because I'm not feeling very well. But as Joseph said, you will have. Is this all? Can you do? Okay, so you will have other MEPs, other of my colleagues here, so we won't be deprived of the presence of the members of the parliament. I'm not an expert on AI. I'm not an expert on computers. I'm not an expert on cyber things and virtual reality. None of that. I'm just a user of all these things. The person who is maybe a bit worried about how the pace of research of artificial intelligence is going forward. And as Joseph said, we had a quite, I would say, interesting conversation a few weeks ago, which actually prompted me to hosting this event because, as I said, I think it's very important. Let me quote one of my favorite movies, and I'm sure that you will all find out which movie the quote comes from. In 3 years, Cyberdyne will become the largest supplier of military computer systems. All stealth bombers are upgraded with Cyberdyne computers, becoming fully unmanned. Afterwards, they will fly with a perfect operational record. The Skynet funding bill is passed. The system goes online August 4th, 1997. Human decisions are removed from strategic defense. Skynet begins to learn at a geometric rate. It becomes self-aware at 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time, August 29th. In a panic, they try to pull the plug. Now, if you recognize that this quote comes from the Terminator, you are right. You all know what followed. Skynet reacted by launching a nuclear attack on Russia, which triggered a nuclear war and Armageddon. And honestly, as I said, I don't know, I said it, I'm a big science fiction fan. I saw The Terminator for the first time when I was, I think, 12. At the age of 16, I saw The Matrix for the first time. When I was in my early 20s, I saw the 2001 The Space Odyssey for the first time. All these movies have one thing in common. It's the artificial intelligence somehow becoming self-aware and somehow dominating life on the planet, erasing the human race off the face of the world. When it comes to the Space Odyssey, which I mentioned, there is this supercomputer, HAL 9000, I think. It demonstrates capacity for speech synthesis, speech recognition, facial recognition, natural language processing, lip reading, art appreciation, interpreting emotional behaviors, automated reasoning, spacecraft piloting, and computing chess. Very important. Throughout the plot, throughout the movie, throughout the book, HAL starts to malfunction, leading to the crew's decision to shut it down. The reaction of the computer is that it eliminates the crew, leaving only one alive, who then manages to turn off the machine. By saying that I'm a great science fiction fan, it leads me to a thought that I'm not sure whether these fantasies I have mentioned, these movies, these books, were meant as an instruction of how to behave. It seems to me that we are doing everything actually to make them come true. If you look at the Terminator, if you look at the Space Odyssey, if you look at the Matrix, and if you look at the pace, at the rate of the development of artificial intelligence, it seems to me that we are doing everything for these science fiction tales to become true. We have autonomous weapons. We have drones. We are witnessing the first drone war not far away from here in Ukraine. The rate of development of these autonomous weapons is beyond imagination. 3 or 4 years ago, nobody would imagine that the development would go in such a quick rate. We are developing supercomputers and are becoming more and more dependent on. We've already given ourselves over to social network algorithms. And now we are developing something that again is beyond our imagination. We are moving our lives into the virtual reality as if living in a matrix was somehow more comfortable to us. Not living in the real world instead of but living in the virtual reality makes us more comfortable. We escape everyday problems by sort of tuning into social media. I think, not to sound as a pessimist or an alarmist, I think that AI is a great tool. It helps us in various fields, in various the scopes of our lives. It helps us in development, for example, developing new medicines. As I mentioned, Ukraine, I'm sure you've all read articles about new bacteria emerging there, which are resistant to antibiotics. And I'm sure that AI can help us overcome this problem. It can help us develop new medicines that will cure the diseases that we still don't have the cure for. It helps us in innovations, in research, in space travels, for example, in developing, or actually the people are now trying to return to the moon. I'm sure that AI plays a great role in that. But I think that it can also do a great harm. In a world that is mentally stuck in the 1930s, with various populists and autocrats still sort of wandering the planet, AI can become a terrible tool. I think that it's not only a terrible tool for these people, but it can become a weapon of mass destruction. And as Joseph mentioned, I have 4 children, and I think that if we actually don't regulate the pace at which this development is going, something terrible might happen. I would say that not a day passes when we wouldn't read an article about the dangers that AI poses in various fields of life when it comes to, for example, losing jobs and many other things. So again, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for everything that you will say here. Thank you very much for having, I'd say, a realistic view and picture of what's going on. And maybe thank you for sharing the worries that I have, because I think that AI is a great servant, but a terrible master. Thank you very much.